Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your favorite podcast, Penne for Your Thoughts. I'm your host, Sierra, and I am joined by my dog, Sammy, today. Emma is not in the studio because today's episode I preferred to record solo, just because this is very relevant stuff to me. Emma and I will be discussing what I discussed today in a later episode, but this is a very niche experience. Based off of the title, April is adoption month in my household. I was adopted at the very end of April, and then I got Sammy at the very beginning of April last year. And so today, I'm just going to talk about that because I feel like it's a very interesting experience. And I think it's a cool story. And everyone who I talk to thinks it's a cool story as well. But yeah, Sammy's here in his house. How y'all doing? It's been a minute since I've done a solo ep. I need to find a quiz. Let's see. I always like doing these quizzes because it's a nice little intro warm up to the episode. Also, I might be sounding quieter in this video because I realized how loud I am. I normally have my mic hooked into my computer and my headphones hooked into my computer, but when I record solo, I don't have to listen to Emma because she's not here. And so I can hook my headphones up to my mic and I'm hearing myself. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm so loud all of the time. And I'd like to apologize. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Quizzes. Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Make a bowl of pasta and I'll guess your eye color. What do you guys think my eye color is? I'll leave it till the end. All right, first, what type of pasta do you like? Bow tie, spaghetti, macaroni, or rigatoni? I love a macaroni and a bow tie. I'm going to have to go bow tie with this one. Now choose a sauce. Carbonara, pesto, marinara, and Alfredo. Ooh, carbonara. 100%. I freaking love pasta carbonara. When I was in guard and marching band, sorry, I used to be eating so freaking much because we were working out so much. And I would make pasta carbonara because it has eggs and ham and cheese and carbs. And it was wonderful. And I would just eat that almost every day for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. Delicious. Any add-ins? No thanks. Mushrooms, Parmesan, and sausage. Ooh, normally I go for all three of these. I'm going to have to go sausage though. What kind of bowl will you put your pasta in? A deep bowl, a cube bowl, a wide bowl, a unique bowl? Deep bowl, hands down. I want as much pasta in there as possible. Lastly, would you like anything on the side? Just pasta is fine. Garlic bread, salad, roasted veggies. Garlic bread. My mom and I, one time, what did we make for dinner? It was something with a side of garlic bread. And my mom and I, we hang out in the kitchen afterwards to just chit chat, help clean up, because my dad mainly cooks. And I remember there was this big sheet tray of garlic bread, and her and I were just standing in the kitchen cleaning up. We'd go do a task, come back, eat garlic bread. Go do a task, come back, eat garlic bread. We ate so much garlic bread, and my dad bullied us for it. Oh, this quiz thinks I have brown eyes. You radiate warmth, wisdom, and a quiet confidence that draws people in. People trust you because you're reliable, down to earth, and always keep it real. Whether you're hyping up your friends or handling business like a boss, you're the one everyone turns to. Plus, there's a little mystery behind those deep brown eyes. What are you really thinking? I think all of that is very true. A lot of people do come to me for questions and answers. Because if you can't find an answer on your own, I will gladly give you an answer. I've always been a leader, and so I just love to help people in that way. But I actually have hazel eyes, which is kind of crazy because none of my siblings have hazel eyes. So here's where I'll get into adoption. I'm going to talk about my adoption and then Sammy's adoption and then kind of relate to my life. So that's the layout of today. But I will not be saying names in the video just because I did not ask permission to use their names. So I have birth mom, my mom, who I think I've mentioned before, the homie Lisa. She's dope. So is my birth mom. They're both dope. But my birth mom has or had 8 children. 4 of which do no, 5 of which do not live with her. 3 of them, 3 of the 5 being my brothers and I, we were born the same day and we got adopted right from the womb. So we didn't go into foster care or anything like that. And we have an open adoption. So that means like we're still in contact with our birth mother. We've always been in contact with our birth mom because that's what she wanted. Anyways, out of her 8 children, 6 of them have blue eyes. The other 2, being my middle brother and myself, we have different colored eyes. I have hazel, and my middle brother, he has brown eyes. So, little fun fact that they all have blue eyes. Kind of crazy. And then we have my youngest brother, and then we have my sister, who is technically my half sister because she was adopted to another family. But her and I have a really close relationship. And so I started calling her my sister because she's the one I talk about the most. Then we have other half siblings, which I'm going to be jumping all around, all over this place, you guys. So hopefully I can get the story straight. I should have written notes down to organize my thoughts, but oh well, we're just freeballing it. So my half sister, she got adopted to a different family. We're super close, but she's my half sister because we share the same birth mom. All of my half siblings, we share the same birth mom. The only reason my brothers and I are siblings is because we have the same birth mom and birth dad, right? And we all got adopted to the same family, my mom and dad. So there's us 3, then my sister, then the oldest half sister who lives with her dad, and then there's the youngest 3 who I've actually never met. And one of them is a junior in high school. And so it's kind of interesting that I've never met them. My birth mom lives in Colorado. And so I don't go out there very often. And if I do, I'm in the Longmont, Louisville area where my sister used to live and where I have like aunts and uncles out there. And I don't normally go to southern Colorado, which is where my birth mom lives, with her kiddos and her partner. So I've never met them. I really want to because they seem cool. They seem like balls of energy, which is exactly what my birth mom is. But anyways, that's a little history of the lineage, okay? I do have half siblings on my birth dad's side. However, I'm not close with them. We don't talk. I just met my birth father like 3 years ago in 2022. But to go back to the way beginning, also, I should mention anyone who I say birth and then their title, like birth mom, birth dad, birth uncle, birth aunt, they are from my birth mom's side or they are from my bloodline. If I just say mom, dad, aunt, grandma, that is from my adoptive family's bloodline, just to make things clear. Because a lot of people, I say birth mom, and they're like, oh, your mom. I'm like, no, birth mom. Like, there's a distinction. So, way back when, in probably like 2000 and 2001, my parents, my mom and dad, the homie Lisa and the homie Gabe, they were looking to adopt. They knew they really wanted a family. They had 2 dogs, they had good jobs, they were settled, and they were just ready to start that next chapter of their life. And so they found this adoption agency in California, which is where I grew up. It's no longer where my family lives and no longer where I live. And they started working with this adoption agency. And my dad created a website to kind of advertise any potential, or to any potential like people who are looking to have their kids up for adoption. And this website basically had like pictures of the house, bios of my parents, pictures of my parents, pictures of the dogs, just so like whoever was looking at this website could see a face to a name and be like, oh, they have a good house. They have dogs. They seem like really nice people. And in hopes of like getting more luck, which is like I'm not required to do by any means, but my dad being the tech guru he is, he created a website. Fun fact, the website still exists to this day. I don't think the bios are up anymore, but there is still that family page, and it shows now our two dogs who have since passed. They've passed many years ago. I think like 12 years ago. No, they passed when I was 8, and I'm 23 now. How? Maybe I was 6 and 7 when they passed. We'll just say 7 years ago. 2025 minus 7. That's not right. They did not pass in 2018. I was 7. So, 23 minus 7 equals 16. 2025 minus 16. 2009. You guys. I'm not good at math, so I was just typing in my calculator, and you're going to listen to all of that. I'm not cutting any of it. So those two original dogs, they passed away in 2009, and then we got a different dog in 2010 or later in 2009. Anyways, so my birth mom found they're my parents. She found my parents, and she contacted them and through the agency and all sorts of stuff. And so they were working with an agency not only in California, but my birth mom was stationed out in Texas, San Antonio. And so they were working with the San Antonio agency and a California agency, whole bunch of like legal things going on. It was like very difficult since it was like over state lines and whatnot. It's kind of crazy. But my parents flew out to Texas to meet my birth mama, and they hung out, they talked, they stayed in Texas for a few days, they got a tour from her, and yeah, they just immediately clicked. My mom and my birth mom became besties, and while she was pregnant, they called almost every night. That's what she was saying. My mom would always ask, all right, who's kicking? Who's craving what? All the girls she's had crave savory, and all the boys she's had crave sweet. So that was really interesting for me to know, which makes sense based off of like my siblings' favorite foods, because I really like avocados, bacon, and cheese. Those are my 3 food groups I love. And she knew I was hungry because she would crave cheese or avocados or bacon. I still love cheese so much. It's so bad, you guys. And then with the boys, she would crave fruit or like candy, which my brothers, they have pretty sweet tooths. Although my middle brother, he really likes like sour things, sour and sweet things rather than just sweet. But my youngest brother, we're triplets. I say they're middle because like I'm 8 minutes older than the middle, 13 minutes older than the youngest. So I'm still older. Hot. Anyways, so my mom and my birth mom talk, become besties. And at this point in the journey, my parents think she is only having one baby. And my birth mom thinks she is only having one baby. However, she is gaining weight at a rapid rate. Like, it is crazy how much weight she is putting on. And she went to her doctor. They did an ultrasound, and they found out she was having triplets. And, which is kind of crazy, like 3-for-1 deal. Hell yeah. But that's obviously a very high risk pregnancy. And spoiler alert, we're fine. Like, we're happy, healthy 23-year-olds. So everything was fine. And so there's a documentary about my adoption, about the whole birth process, about everything like that. It's online. I don't know if I'll say it out loud. I don't think I'm gonna. But there's a video in that documentary where my dad tells my mom that my birth mom is having triplets instead of just the one they thought. And part of the documentary was my dad's camera work. My dad has always been a camera guru, loves to film, loves to capture memories. Like, he has taken so many photos for events and just family stuff. And he took my grad photos as well. And he's given me my first camera and gave me my love of photography, videography, and stuff like that. And it is the sweetest video I have ever seen. That's all. I've seen very sweet videos, but that is definitely top 3. And I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it because it is just so cute to see their reaction. Let's see if I can find the video. I used to have it screen recorded on my phone, but I don't know if I still do. Oh man, sorry if you hear me sniffling. I'm a very emotional person, and even though I was not there for this, having that documentary, having all the footage and the videos, I love to watch it. It's just like kind of comforting to me knowing that this is my life and it's just another chapter in my life that I'm able to share with people and to celebrate. Because a lot of people aren't as fortunate and have closed adoptions, which sucks. And it makes me very sad. Hopefully they're listening. Shouts out mom, shouts out dad. Thanks for being awesome. Maybe I'll do a podcast with them and their opinions on this later. That would be a good idea. Let's see. Here we go. It literally started at the reaction that I wanted. But we're just going to take a moment and we're going to listen to my dad finding out that they are getting triplets. Hold on.
Really well.
Sorry, this is old audio.
It was about 11 o'clock at night. I was home alone, and Lisa was out camping with a friend. And the birth mother phone rang. Hello? I was scared because that could be bad news in the middle of the night. And it was on, and I said, "Is everything all right?"
He goes, "Is the baby okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, all the babies are fine." He goes, "Babies? You're having twins?" I'm
This
like,
is
"No,
my birth mom talking.
triplets."
Triplets. And I went, whoa. And I had to try to go to bed and wait for Lisa to get home, tell her about it.
So now this is a clip of that my dad actually
I got
recorded. This next audio is like my mom's genuine reaction.
home, and Gabe said, "All right, we're testing out the new video camera."
I'm scared. Why are they going to be videotaped?
Yeah, scary, huh?
Yeah.
I couldn't wait. The minute Lisa walked in the door, I said, "Sit down on the couch. I have something I have to tell you." So, Angel is having triplets.
No! 3? She's lying. You're lying, Angel.
When he said triplets, I was not prepared.
3! 3!
3.
Oh, boy. I don't believe it.
And Gabe said, "We can say no if it's too much for us to handle."
She's no wonder she's gained 32 pounds. She's got 3.
And really, it didn't occur to me that we could say no.
We need a bigger house.
And
So that was the clip. But I think it's just so cute and sweet. And it's one of my favorite things to show my friends too, because like, oh, I'm crying. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's one of my favorite things to show people because like I'll get into this later, but my mom and I have like butted heads. We never had the best relationship, especially in my teen years and like early into college. But that video is just my favorite to show like, damn, they do have a lot of love for my brothers and I. And it's very sweet and refreshing to be reminded of that and have that on videotape and have that little bit of evidence. So I'm very grateful for that. Sorry, anyways, continuing. So then my mom and birth mom, they continue talking, and my birth mom went into labor early. We were 6 weeks premature, which is honestly pretty good for triplets. The more children you have in your belly, the more likely of a premature birth is, just because like it gets crowded in there. The human body can only stretch so much. So we were 6 weeks premature. I think we were all around 3-ish pounds. I think my brothers might have been like the higher end of 2 pounds. I don't remember, mainly because I was being born, but people have told me, and I forget how much we weighed, but we were itty bitty babies. We were teensy tiny. I was born first, no complications relatively with me. And then my middle brother was born. He had some breathing and heart issues. And then my last brother was born. And I think he also had some breathing and heart issues, which is normal. They gave us some steroids to help the lungs mature faster when we were in the NICU. And I forget how long we were in the NICU. I think we were in the full 6 weeks, if not 7 weeks. And my parents flew out to Texas and to be with my birth mom when they found out she was going into labor. And they were there at the birth and they whisked the babies away. And they haven't told me explicitly how hard it was to be in the NICU. And they don't really talk about it a whole lot. But in the documentary, there is a shot of my dad standing outside of the NICU door, just saying how scary it was to see us in the NICU. And he's holding back tears, or it seems like he is. He seems choked up. And I could tell that was the last thing he wanted to do, was be recorded. And obviously my mom and birth mom were not on camera, but he's like, someone has to do this. So I can only imagine how scary that must have been, to not know if your babies are going to be okay. Oh my God, so sorry, you guys. I guess this is another good thing as to why Emma's not here. When Emma and I used to go to school together and we used to work together, oh my God, the amount of times they would see me cry. I'm such a crybaby. I just have so many emotions. I'm a Capricorn, what can I say? But, so we're in the NICU and everything's fine. You guys, like I said, spoiler alert, 23 years later, we're thriving. Oh, hi, Sammy. Thank you so much. Sammy came to my comfort. I'd like to think that he is an emotional support dog, but he stresses me out and does me more good. And I say I'm his emotional support human. Right, bud? Oh, yeah, you're a good boy. He probably wants a snack. So anyways, we're in the NICU, and then we get out. We get discharged, and my grandma and I think my mom's stepdad came out to help. I can't remember. But they flew out to Texas to help transport these 3 little babies back to California. So my parents drove from San Antonio, Texas to San Jose, California. And that's where we grew up. Yeah. And so it was chaos at first. They had a rotation of grandparents coming in to help, friends, family, anyone who was willing to help, because obviously it's 2 against 3. So that's a little crazy. And yeah, we just grow up. Fast forward 16 years. When we were in high school, my half sister, my sister, her and I were really close when we were younger. And then in 2016, she came out to California to visit some family with her dad. And we were like, oh my God, you're in California? You should come over for dinner. Because they were staying maybe an hour and a half away from us. And we hadn't seen her since we were little. Like, we hadn't seen her for maybe 12 years, maybe 13. And so she came out. We hung out. We thought it was going to be really awkward. But it wasn't. It felt natural. It felt like we picked up where we left off. And then her and I continued to have that sibling bond and look out for each other. And we continued to grow closer. In 2018, I think it was, her and my birth mom flew out to California, flew out back to California to see me in a musical. And because, funny enough, like my sister, my youngest brother, and I, we're all big musical people. My brother has never been a theater kid, but he's been in band. And then my sister is a very big theater kid and a very big band kid. And then I also did theater and band. So it's kind of funny how we were raised independently, or my brother and I, and then my sister were raised independently from each other, but still have the same passion and drive and similarities for like band and theater, which was interesting. But, anyways, so when they came out, we were talking about like my birth father. And when I was about like 15, 16, I really began to wonder, who is my birth father? And we used to always joke that he's the Tapatio man because we know that we're part Puerto Rican, Guatemalan, and my birth mom is Irish and the whites, Scandinavian, Nordic, whatnot. And so when my sister and my birth mom were out there, we were just talking about it and talking about adoption and our stories. And after that trip, my birth mom reached back out to my birth father and they got in contact and they started talking again because he was a jerk and left her when he found out she was pregnant. They were never dating, but he never helped her with the pregnancy. He never did anything. Asshole. And so they reconnected. And in addition, my birth mom, she is adopted as well. However, she is a closed adoption. And only found her birth mom like a year or two before coming out to see me in this musical. And so, or maybe it was after that she reached out to her birth mom. I can't remember. But she started getting in contact with her birth mom because it's only after 18 then can the adoptee reach back out to the birth mom. The birth parent cannot reach out to their child. I think that's how it works. So anyways, she starts getting in contact with my birth father and I get his number and I start texting him. Very like asking him very like health questions, like do you have a history of heart disease, diabetes, cavities, things I should know. And so we kind of have this off and on relationship. And then finally, he just kind of like stops talking to me. It was just like a natural fall off. And he'll text me sometimes. Then fast forward. So I was 16 when that happened. Fast forward to when I turned 21. So in like December of 2022, my birth mom and I were like, we've never done a trip together. We haven't really hung out together. We've like seen each other here and there because she's always lived in a different state. So it's really hard for her to come and visit. But when she does visit California, she's only over there for like a few days. She's visiting friends doing the rounds. So she's only able to see us for a day. So I was like, we should do something. We were going to do like this whole big road trip around like several different states to the East Coast. And then we were like, that's not feasible. Let's do a road trip to San Antonio. And I was like, oh, okay. I forgot how we decided on that, but I was like, okay. Oh, it was because, so we went in for New Year's of 22 to 20, no, sorry. We went December 30th, 2021, and then we were there till January 2022. And the reason why, my parents do not know this, but we chose Texas because of the parental drinking laws or guardian drinking laws. Because my birth mom, she wanted to celebrate my 21st birthday with me. And so in Texas, she could do that. Because like, even though I was 20, like we went early January, like before my birthday. And so even though I was only 20, I was still able to drink with her, which was a lot of fun. So we went to Texas, had a fun time. And she was like, oh, I wonder if your birth father is still in Texas. And he is. So she reaches out to him and she's like, hey, Sierra and I are going to be in San Antonio for a week. Would you want to come get dinner? We can meet you halfway. Because he lives about 2 hours north, maybe an hour and a half north of San Antonio. And in not Fort Knox. I can't remember where he lives. Oh, well, maybe it's a good thing. But we invited him out. The original plan was we were going to meet him halfway, right? Because it would be like an hour-ish drive from both of our sides, and we felt bad for making him like drive the whole way. Then he was like, no, 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 I'll drive the whole way. Let's go to Tower of the Americas. I think that's what it's called. It's the revolving tower in San Antonio. So we went to lunch, and this was my first time meeting him ever. And this was my birth mom's first time seeing him in 21, 22 years. Because he was a jackass and just left her. I'm still pissed for her. And so I meet him, and it was very awkward at first because I was like, whoa, you're not at all who I thought you would be. Like, just on the like the exterior, his looks. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can kind of see myself in him, you know? So we have lunch. It was a very emotional lunch. Like, my birth mom has a lot of emotions had a lot of emotions towards him, and they all came out. And it was very valid. And he apologized, and we talked it out. And I was like, oh my God, this is rough. And so then afterwards, we knew we didn't want to end the day. Like, we maybe had lunch for like 2 hours or something like that, just talking, asking questions, getting to know one another, trying to catch up on 21 years. And afterwards, my birth mom and I are completely drained. We are so tired. But we were like, okay, let's go to the Riverwalk, which if you have not been to San Antonio, the Riverwalk is like these sidewalks next to a river. There's restaurants, there's shops. It's a really beautiful place. And we were like, okay, so my birth father, he gets in his car and drives. My birth mom and I, we get those little bird scooters and we are zooming around town. We loved those scooters when we were in San Antonio. They were so much fun. So anyways, we do the Riverwalk with my birth dad, talking, making jokes, shopping around, and just having a nice time. And there's a picture that we took, the three of us, together on the Riverwalk. And I have never felt more whole when I look at that picture. Let me see. I'll pull it up and I'll try my best to describe it to you guys. I might post it. I might just blur the faces of my birth mom and my birth dad just because out of respect. Once again, I did not ask for their permission. But there's this beautiful, we're standing on the edge of the Riverwalk on this like rock walkway, and it's warm. It's like mid 70s in San Antonio. It's sunny. There's this beautiful tree. It's not hot. My birth mom is standing on one side and my birth father is standing on the other, and I'm standing in the middle. In heels, mind you. I walked all of San Antonio in heels. Impressive. And I can just see myself in both of them. Like, I can see my genetics, which is crazy because having adopted parents, like, I never really saw myself in either of them, because they don't have my genetics, obviously. And so being able to see kind of where I came from, I've never felt more whole. I've never felt more completed. And I cherish that moment because it means a lot. And in that picture, I remember coming back and telling my friends and people, I've never felt more whole and I've never felt more beautiful, which is something I don't say. Like, I've always had issues with my body, but for some reason, just being there with them, I felt completed and I felt good. I felt confident. It was awesome. It was great. And then afterwards, we went to Margaritaville, of all places, to have a drink because we were all kind of tired from walking. So we went and had a drink. And this time, when we sat down and had conversations and a snack, it was refreshing. We laughed, we shared stories. There wasn't as much anger and emotion because we had all let it out at lunch and then had that scooter ride break to kind of decompress. And we were at this Margaritaville for, I think, 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours. Like, we got there at like 1 o'clock and we had an early lunch. And so we had a snack at like 1-ish. And we didn't leave till like 9 o'clock, 9:10-ish, which was crazy. And we were just laughing and having so much fun. And then we left. And that was when I met my birth father. Now, him and I still don't have a strong relationship, which I will not tell in detail, but our communications have diminished. And that's all I'll say. I'm not as close to him, and I do not cherish him as much as I do anymore because of things he's said, things he's done, and things he's not said. But that hasn't changed who I am. That hasn't changed anything. Now, one question I get is like, have your brothers met their birth father? No. They have no interest in it. And totally understandable. It kind of was expected for like girls to be more emotionally connected or like want to seek out closure and emotions. Guys tend to not care. That doesn't go for everyone. That's just how like what I've noticed. And also during this San Antonio trip, we went to the original adoption agency because that still exists. And I got to meet the woman who signed off on all the paperwork, who helped my parents adopt us. And it was a very surreal experience, like meeting her in real life, because I've seen her in the documentary, but then meeting her, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So that was an interesting experience. Anyways, so my birth mom and I are still pretty close. We drove from San Antonio back to together, or sorry, we drove from San Antonio back to here together. It was like a very long drive, but it was very fun. And yeah, and so that's the adoption story and meeting everyone. Also on that road trip, we stopped in Tucson and got to meet some of my birth mom's cousins, I think they are. Like we went out to dinner, we hung out in Tucson together, and it was very fun because I was like, whoa, these people are like, I'm actually related to these people. Like these are also my cousins. Like these are my blood second cousins. But yeah, so that's the story. How I feel about everything. I don't know, it's a lot because obviously I don't know what it's like to not be adopted. And I think it's a very cool story. I feel very lucky with it. And the parents I have now are pretty awesome. A lot of people, including therapists I've had, they have a very negative view of adoption because that's how the media portrays it often. It's like it is this awful thing where people are giving up their children who don't want children, who, whatever it is, very negative stuff. And that wasn't the case for me at all. It was the fact that my birth mom wanted to find a loving home for us because she knew right then and there when she was in the army, it was not the right time for her to have kids. And I respect and commend her so much for going through the hardship of finding a family and trusting them enough to let them raise your children and still remaining in close contact. So it is a story of bravery. It is not a story of embarrassment or sadness. At least for me, it's not. And I couldn't commend her more for doing that because it was definitely a great decision. And I've had a great life. I feel very fortunate in who raised me and the people in my life and the influences they've had on shaping me into a human being. And it's hard for me to express that to a therapist who's like, oh, you're adopted? Isn't that like traumatizing? I'm like, I mean, no, not really. Like, yes, it has impacted factors in my life, but it's not traumatizing. And I think that was in part like I was never in foster care. Like, I was never put into the quote unquote system. It was like my parents met each other, we were born immediately into their arms. And I think that has saved me from a lot of heartbreak. In addition, my parents are also so amazing because they when we were like able to conceptualize things, they weren't one of those people who were like, we need to talk to you guys, you're adopted. Like, no. We had always celebrated adoption day, which I believe is like either April 22nd or April 28th. I forget it because we stopped celebrating it like a while ago. Because it was a lot. We used to have like friends over for dinner. We used to have nice dinners, and it was a celebration. It was like a birthday. And I just have a really good connotation about being adopted because of that. And so I think that's something awesome my parents did because some people, not my siblings, I don't really know how they found out they were adopted, but some of my colleagues here in college, they did not have a good relationship when they were adopted. They had a very much like a identity crisis, and they're like, "Whoa, so everything I've lived through has been a lie," and it threw them into a lot of turmoil. However, for me, I had a very good experience with it. And yeah, so April signifies when all the adoption papers were finalized. And I think it took like a year and a little bit. I think we were 3, maybe 2 by the time all the papers were done. It took a long time because it was like California and Texas. But I'm very grateful for everything. And I don't know. I don't know how my story could have gone differently, you know? And now I have gone through somewhat of a process for adoption by adopting Sammy. Granted, it is not a human adoption. It was not as intensive as what I can imagine what my parents went through, what my birth mom went through. It was nothing like that. Thank God. I would not go through a dog adoption if I had to do countless paperwork, get an attorney, get a lawyer, all that. No, not at the ripe old age of 22. So, April 2nd of 2022, it's almost 20 years after I was officially adopted, I decided to get a dog because in 2022, yeah, in 2022, my dog Skippy passed away. He was, I got him in 2009. He was in 2022 when he passed. More math, you guys. He was 13. He had a lot of issues with his GI tract, with his heart, but he passed away. Like, I've always been an animal person. I love animals. I used to volunteer at shelters. I just love animals. And I thought I was going to be a vet growing up too. But when he passed away, I felt a hole in my heart. Like there was something missing. I needed something to be filled. And I was also going through a lot because this was my sophomore, junior, and first senior year. I'm a super senior, so I've had 2 senior years. I don't know how to classify that. But he passed away my sophomore year. And I resorted to not healthy ways of coping. So a lot of underage drinking went on. And I also, like, my sophomore year of college, I had a lot of anxiety and depression because my university was pretty much shut down during COVID. However, they still allowed people in the dorms. Classes were hybrid, so online in person. And then my sophomore year, when campus fully opened up, there were a lot of people on campus, which was really scary to me because I struggle with PTSD, especially like second degree PTSD, I think that's what it's called, where I didn't specifically experience something, but someone else really close to me experienced something traumatic. And so having a lot of people around just scares me and makes me very anxious. And so I was facing all those emotions my sophomore year of college. So a lot of big things were happening. And so I lived my life and I was like, I know I want a dog, but I didn't know if I wanted to get a dog while living in an apartment because I was like, I feel bad for it not having a backyard. So I got a fish in like 2023. I got a fish and I love that fish, but you can't cuddle a fish. They're not really cuddly. And so then in April of 2024, I adopted Sammy. And I had to sign a lot of paperwork for Sammy. And the shelter, like I had watched him go in and out of the shelter on their website for months. I think like 19 months he was in and out of the shelter, which is a long time for a dog to go in and out of foster care. He had failed adoptions, and I felt so bad. And so one day I went to my roommate and I was like, hey, I know we've been talking about getting a dog or a cat or something like that. She wanted a turtle. I hope she still gets a turtle. I really like turtles too. But how would you feel if we got a dog? And we talked it through. She obviously was asking me very logistical questions of like whether I can afford it, thinking through the time commitment. And I was like, yes, I can do this. We should go now. So we went, saw him, and they were like, do you want to foster him? And I was like, nope, I want to adopt. And they're like, do you want to do foster to adopt? And I was like, nope, I want to do adopt because he has behavioral issues. Sammy is very reactive. The shelter I got him from thinks he was a used as a fighter dog. He's about maybe 85, 90 pounds now. When I adopted him, he was like 70 pounds. Very skinny, but a very big dog. He's part boxer and cattle dog, so he's very smart and yeah, very reactive in that way. He has some scars on his faces, and apparently his like first owners surrendered him to the shelter. And then he was in and out of foster care because he doesn't get along with other dogs. And you can't have other dogs when you have him in your household or other animals. Like he hates cats too. And it was really hard to hear this because like they didn't put it on the website. They just put behavioral issues, contact for more details. And so when I was actually talking to the people at the shelter, they're like, are you sure you want to do this? Like it is a big commitment to have a dog with such high reactivity. Just really making sure I understood what I was getting myself into. And I was like, yes, I can do this. I wasn't planning on quote unquote fixing him or anything like that. I was trying to ease his fear a little bit. But I knew he was never going to be 100% like a friendly dog. And I was like, that's okay. Like he was 5 years old when I adopted him. So he was a little lower energy than a puppy. He already came trained, which was perfect, exactly what I wanted, because I did not have the time to raise a puppy and to train a dog. I knew that much. And so it's been a wild ride. He was a very anxious dog at first, hiding in all corners of the house, whining. He still has very, like, really high separation anxiety, although now it's a lot better. But it was really sad at first because I would get frustrated and I didn't know how to help him. I didn't know what he wanted because, like, he doesn't speak English. And so, except like the 20 words he knows in English, the 20 tricks, I was like, I don't know how to help you, but you're safe. And so it just took time for him to trust me, to realize I wasn't going to give him up, to realize he was safe. And so I learned a lot of patience with Sammy, and I'm still learning. And it's hard because a lot of people, like a lot of my friends, get mad at his reactivity. A lot of my family gets really frustrated because I took him camping last year and they're like, oh, can we meet your dog? And I was like, only women can, one at a time, and no men can because he's reactive to men as well. And they're like, oh, that's so frustrating. Why do you get a dog if it isn't friendly? Why do you get a dog if it can't hang out? I'm like, well, I want to give him a good life, you know? And thankfully, my really close friends, they were really understanding of that. And when they came over to meet him for the first time, it was like one or two people. We took things really slow. When he began to meet men, it just takes them like sitting on the couch for a few minutes. Like he's going to bark. It's going to seem really scary, but you just have to stay calm and he'll quiet down. And eventually, like he's met several men at this point, and he is incredibly sweet with them now. He remembers them once he's met them. And yeah, so that was a big training curve for me. But I think in that, it also taught me, as I mentioned before, I have PTSD and really bad anxiety. It taught me that I need to be patient with myself. I should not be getting mad at myself for being scared. I should not be getting mad at myself for being worried or anxious. And it also taught myself that, like, I know I'm in a safe environment. Why am I feeling like this? What can I do to alleviate the fears that I'm having? And I didn't know adopting a dog could teach me that. And I'm really grateful it has, because since adopting a dog, I've been able to travel more. I have been able to really listen to myself and take care of my mental health and realize I have a capacity and just so many positive things. And since having him for almost a year now, or a year now is the time, as time of releasing, I'm recording this a month early, so that way we just have this episode. But I didn't realize he could teach me so much. And now he has really blossomed from when I first got him. Like I said, he was nervous, he was scared, he didn't really know how to communicate. But now he is just such a goofball. He loves everything. Granted, he's glued by my side always. But he is such a sweet boy. Yes, he is still super reactive towards dogs, and it is really scary because whenever he hears a dog or sees a dog, he just sees red. And he doesn't listen to me. I can't get him to listen, so all we have to do is walk away. And become like, it's become a learning curve for sure. And definitely, like, some things help, some things don't. And it's just like, I'm a first time dog parent. Like, I'm figuring this stuff out too, like how my parents were with me and my brothers. And it's scary because not everyone in my family is super supportive of me having a dog. But, and I considered surrendering Sammy when I first got him because I didn't realize how much of a toll it was taking on me. And it was really difficult. But I'm very glad I did not surrender him because going through all of my health issues that I've had to deal with my wrist, I don't talk about it very openly because it's really hard for me to talk about my emotions. And that's why you guys are getting such a raw, unedited, unfiltered version of me today. It's because Emma's not here. And I'm essentially talking into a mic, into my computer, in my room, and I don't have an audience. So that's why I'm sharing all this emotion. But it is hard being diagnosed with something at 22 and being told that I'm going to have to go through all these surgeries, and I was in chronic pain, and the the unknown, which was really what scared me. It took a toll. It took a massive toll on my health. And I wasn't really taking care of myself. I was depressed for about a year after my diagnosis and my first surgery. It wasn't really until I got Sammy that I was able to, like, I would go outside regularly because we're in an apartment, so we don't have a backyard. He has to go to the bathroom, so I would take him on really long walks. And I started to feel better. And then I was like, I have to wake up at a normal time. I have to feed him. And in turn of taking care of him, I was taking care of myself. And so getting a dog, like, I haven't told anybody that really. Like, my friends know, but my family, they're like, why'd you get a dog? Because I wanted one. I love dogs. That's why. But no, it was to hopefully help me and give me a friend and help me go through life because I don't have a partner. Like, yes, I have a lot of friends, but I know at the end of the day, Sammy will always be home for me. And we need each other. That's about it. And he filled that empty hole that left when Skippy died. So I'm very grateful for adopting him. And it's been a learning curve. It's been a wild ride. But I genuinely think Sammy has helped me become the more confident version of myself, the more, like, productive version. And he's just given me a reason to take care of myself and be the best that I can. Because whenever I'm sick and I don't feel good, he doesn't get to go on long walks. And then he suffers. And I hate that. So, or not suffers. Suffers is a little dramatic. But you get the point. I just want to be the best parent I can to him. And the best person I can be to myself. I owe it to myself. And he has really helped. Even though when I got surgery in December, it was a little difficult to take care of him with one arm, but he understood something was wrong and was just so patient and would spend days with me, laying with me on the couch, just watching movies because he knew that's all I could do. And he has just brought so many laughs into my life, and I'm so grateful for him. Anyways, that's my adoption story and the adoption story of Sammy and how much this dog means to me. I love him so much. He is the sweetest baby on the planet, even though he has his issues, but hey, we all have issues. I will never judge someone for sharing their anxieties, their fears, and their traumas because it affects scenarios, but people need to be more accommodating. Like, I never realized how little people accommodate for each other. Like, people are like, well, Sammy needs to fit into your life. He needs to accommodate to you. No, I need to accommodate to him. Therefore, I take him on walks at really weird hours so that way we don't see other dogs, other animals, or the likelihood of it drops. I'm not letting him change his life for me. I'm going to change my life for him because that's what's easiest. And even with people, I have some friends who also struggle with anxiety and fear, and I am like, hey, we don't have to do this. We can change to whatever you're comfortable with. Because if they're comfortable and we're both comfortable, we're going to have much better time than just me being comfortable and them being uncomfortable. They're going to be miserable. So I think that's a lesson a lot of people can still learn today is sometimes when appropriate, you should adjust your life for others. Yes, that's a big ask, but if it's something like they don't want to be in crowded spaces a whole lot, great. Figure stuff out that doesn't involve crowded spaces. It's easy as that. So obviously you don't have to like pick up everything and move or really drop your life or change it completely, but little things really make an impact in people's lives. And have patience. That's a big thing. That patience and compassion, another thing people don't have. And I think like I used to have some, but now that I have this reactive goofball, my compassion and my patience has really changed. A lot of my outlook on the world has changed. But anyways, I know I keep trying to close this out because I feel really uncomfortable talking about my emotions, but I think it'll be good. Let's do, advice. I always forget the order of the sections. We'll do advice first. Advice for having patience and compassion. I think just listening and having an open mind. We talked about this in our like weird laws episode, but it applies to voting, it applies to world politics, it applies to your daily life, it applies to everything. But the more you are willing to open your mind to different possibilities and not close it off to only what you know and being okay with doing stuff you're scared of, I think that can change the world. Especially hearing people out. Whatever they're going through, changing little accommodations, whatever they need, it is truly a small thing that can have such a large impact. So my advice is just be open-minded. Easier said than done, but go watch some TED Talks on open-mindedness and you will see why it is so crucially important. And then, what am I obsessed with lately? I'm obsessed with warm weather. It has been so beautiful here. Granted, it has snowed for 48 hours straight the other day, and it just stopped at like 3 a.m. this morning as of recording this. But when I took Sammy out, there was snow on the ground, but it's like warm and beautiful outside. And I'm just so ready for spring and summer. It's not that I don't like the snow, it's just like it's not my favorite thing and it's cold. But I love warm weather and I'm so grateful that spring is right around the corner. And I'm very excited for spring break. I'm recording this right before I go. And I'm just excited to have some sunshine. I love it. Sammy literally hasn't done anything in the past 24 hours. Like, Emma and I recorded 2 episodes. We recorded the Breaking Laws and what's the second one? Oh, movie hot takes, cinema hot takes. We recorded that yesterday, as of now recording this. So he hasn't really done much. Sammy, what have you been doing? Oh, this morning when I took him out, he was just so bouncy and flouncy in the snow. I think that was another thing he had done. Oh no, last time I told you guys about the snow and Sammy, it was his pee and peeing on the snow mountain. But today he's just so bouncy in the snow. He loves it. He has so much fun. He's very small part husky, so he sheds like the devil, but he loves the snow. Anyways, I think that's about it. Let me know if you guys would like to hear more, if you would like me to have my parents, my birth parents, my sister, my siblings on the pod. That can definitely be a future episode. I'd have to ask them if they would like to, but I'm sure they would be. Yeah, and as always, give us a subscribe on YouTube at Penne for Your Thoughts, and as well on Instagram where we post. I'm now starting to edit reels, which is super exciting. As of recording this, I edited the pickle one last night, and I think it is so funny. But then again, I think I'm the funniest person alive, but other people disagree. I digress. Follow us at PennePod Official. Underscore after every word on Instagram. We post updates there as well and a little behind the scenes, also polls and comments so you can participate in episodes if you follow us on Instagram. But yeah, as for that, I think that's all I have to say. Sammy, you have anything to say? I'm going to move the mic to see if he has anything to say. Nope, just a big yawn. So, anyways, thank you all so much for listening. I truly hope you have, oh, bless you. I truly hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Yeah, pasta la vista, baby.